Huiju, Alex Breslav Indigenous Arts I'm the Indigenous Arts and Science Coordinator at Mesquabekong, Red Cliff, here in northern Wisconsin. And today I want to talk about tracking. When we think about tracking, we often think about Awesiin animals, and hunting them down. Of course, that is a major part of hunting, is being able to understand animal tracks and signs in order to know what they're doing and where they can be best hunted. And it's been a big part of being human because it's the Awesiin that have provided us with food and clothing and tools for a very, very long time. In a way, our brains have evolved to be those trackers, to be successful at finding those animals. Some people say that tracking is the first science because both approaches use the scientific method, if you think about it. For example, say I want to find out who eats grass in the spring. So first, just like in a scientific experiment, I would ask the question, okay, who eats this grass? Next, I would do a little research. I might go look at a book or ask Gitchi, an elder, about what they would know about this topic. Then I would propose a hypothesis. I would say, oh, well, I think Waawaashkeshi would eat grass in the spring. I think they eat grass, but I'm not sure. Okay. Waawaashkeshi is deer, by the way. Okay, so then I would do my experiment and my observation. Of course, I'm not setting up the experiment in nature. Nature provides the experiment for us. So I would go and sit in the meadow, and over several days I would watch Waawaashkeshi feed on feed, and then I would go and check out what they were eating, and I would then find that grass would look like that, and I would tell myself, okay, well, it looks like they clipped it with their mouth. I was watching them do it, so that makes sense. Okay, so that's a result of this experiment. Now, while I'm sitting in that meadow and examining that grass, I might also notice something else. Some of the grass is clipped like so, a little differently. And then I might need to go back and sit a little more, and I would find out that, oh, it's the Waabooz, it's the rabbits that are doing this as well. So not only do the Waawaashkeshi, but also the Waabooz is eating grass in the spring. So that's, again, the scientific method. And the last step to this is I would go and share what I found. I would go tell a friend or a relative about this. Like, hey, look what I figured out. Just like scientists would publish a paper. So a lot of our modern world is created by this ability of the mind to think in these scientific ways. The airplanes and the cars and modern materials, all of that happened because we are intrinsically trackers. When I go out and I track, I enter into a very connected state of being with the world because I'm very observant and I'm very quiet, and a lot of the stuff that goes on inside my head is kind of quiets down, because just like when I'm reading a book, I'm really focused on it and that's all I can think about is the story there. When I'm tracking, that same story unfolds around me because every little thing that I'm noticing has a meaning. Now, when I track, I also, I'm not always looking for exact answers. I find that it's more useful often to have the question. And when I have the question, the answers come on their own time. If I come with the idea that I'm going to figure out an answer, then maybe the first possibility that I see comes to me, and I think, oh, that's the answer. But in fact, that might not be the answer. Maybe there's several answers, or maybe it's going to take me a whole year to figure out the answer. So it's really important to not let that ego, that I know kind of attitude get in the way, and to be patient. That ability to ask questions, be patient, and be observant is very important when going out and tracking, understanding the world around us. In the natural world, we can track anything. We can track animals, Awesiin. We can track Manidoonsyak, insects. We can track Binashiyag, birds. And we can even track Zaagigi, plants. So, and an example of that is looking at tree rings. If you cut a tree, you will see rings that can be thicker or thinner, or maybe a little bit of a different color. And then you ask yourself, I wonder why that is. Did the tree have more sunlight? Did it have less rain? What happened that year? Or was there an insect infestation? So there's a lot of possibilities. So yeah, anything can be tracked. Tracking, like I was talking about reading a book before, it's kind of like reading the book of life. It's pretty exciting once you start doing it. Now, when we first go out, if we haven't tracked before, we go out and there's so much, and it's hard to understand what's what, but it comes with time. So I urge you to be patient and to do the best that you can. And over time, you will become better and better at it. Now, it's a beautiful day today. A few days ago, Goon, snow has melted, so we can't track in the snow. But 2 days ago, Gimiwan fell, rain. And so any kind of soft soil is would leave a good record of tracks, like sand or wet clay. But that's not the only thing I'm gonna look for. I'm not only gonna look for bimikawaan, that actual track, that hoof print or paw print. There's a lot of other things to consider. For example, poop. All animals poop. So I would look for that scat to find out what that animal was eating and where that animal passed. Another thing I might look for is scratches. Some animals scratch trees on purpose, some go up and down trees, some scratch trees with their horns or antlers. So yeah, there's a lot of things like that. Let's see, what else? Oh yeah, bedding sites where the animal sleeps or rests. Kill sites where one animal attacked another animal. So there might be some feathers or blood or hair left over. So yeah, let's go take a look. And Nandawabendan, bimikawaan. Let's go find some tracks. All right. So behind me is a Wiigwaas mitig, a birch tree. Something that I like about Wiigwaas mitig is that it's easy to see things on the bark. So what I want to show you something that I found and see if we can figure out together what it could be. I hope that you can see these little scratches on the tree. There we go. Kind of going up and down the tree a bit. A little bit lower too. There we go. So, what do you think they could be? That's the question, right? Well, let's think about what can leave them. Perhaps it was an Ajidamoo, a squirrel, or Gaag, a porcupine. What else goes up and down the trees? Zhigaag, a skunk, an Esseban, a raccoon, perhaps some kind of a manidoons, insect. Or maybe it was a cat, going like that. Bobcat or mountain lion. Maybe Makwa, a bear. A lot of options, right? Well, when I looked at those little scratches, I noticed they were close together. So I would guess it's an animal with little hands. And also an animal that used it more than once, because there's a lot of them packed together. It's not right on the ground, so I wouldn't think it's a cat stretching up. At least not a bobcat stretching up like that. So that's kind of the process that I'm using and try to make educated guesses. But will I really know without observing this? No, I will not really know. But if I had to guess, I would say probably a Ajidamoo, probably a squirrel going up and down. But I would not say 100% that's what it is, because I want to keep an open mind. All right, well, let's try to find something else. Right now we are at this creek bottom, which is a great place to track because there's sand and clay soil here, and often animals use creeks as pathways, and their footsteps register really well. So I want to show you something that I found and see if we can figure it out. Here it is. Just for reference, this is the size of my hand. Here's another set. And then also there's all these lines here. Who did that? Few more. So what do you think? Well, as far as my thoughts, it looks like some kind of a little animal with a spread out paw, little paw. I see 4 paws, and they're kind of close together. Let's look at it again. So if I had to guess, I would say an Ajidamoo, a squirrel, or maybe a Agungus, a chipmunk. As far as the lines, I'm not so sure. I think maybe some kind of an insect or a creature that lives in the stream. But maybe it's because mitig and Anibish, maybe because it's sticks and leaves that were carried by the stream water when it was a little bit higher as well. Maybe both. So these are the questions that I have right now. And there's something else over here. Looks like some sand that has been expelled from the ground. Like a little mound of it. What did that? And why? So here we are, perhaps with more questions than answers. This is tracking. With time, hopefully, we'll figure it out. Bonjour. I am here at the shore of Gitchi, Lake Superior, and this is a great place to track right on the shore of a lake, because a lot of animals use that kind of in-between environment for travel and for hunting and gathering food. And the sand is a really great place to record tracks. So let me show you around a little bit, and then I will show you a pair of interesting tracks I just found. If you look you will see this Giizhik tree right here, the cedar, that is munched on. It looks like just the height of a deer's head. So this is an indication in this Waawaashkeshi here, deer. Here's the big lake. It's a beautiful place. Alright, let me show you those tracks. So there are a lot of Zhigaag tracks around here, bird tracks. Here's an example. See, going this way. And these are about a seagull size. However, nearby, there's some bigger ones. Check these out. Check these out. And it looks like there are two of them. Two sets. Going in a similar direction, right from where the waves are coming in. This is very interesting. Look how big they are. See that? Wow. Who could have made that? A Giizhik? An eagle? A turkey? Would a turkey even be here? Why would an eagle be here? A lot of questions come up. So let's follow these and see what we find. I'm going to follow this set right here. Aha, and here they are, coming together again. Again, going in the same direction. So perhaps these two Ganeshi were traveling together. And look at that. Once they get into softer sand, you start to see something very interesting. You start to see the outline of a pad, like a lot of water birds have. So that makes me think that this was not a Giizhik. Wow, look at that. Or a turkey, not a turkey, right? So who can this be? Here they go into the dune grasses. Getting fainter. Oh, but here's one. This is very exciting. And then they keep going. Here's that other set, still going parallel to the one that we are following. And over here is a feather. It looks like an old one though, so probably does not belong to whoever made this. And it's kind of small. And then they start to disappear into the grasses. Now we could spend a long time and see if we can see the prints, even though it's hard to see, to figure out what these Ganeshi did. But I'm not gonna do that right now. I'm gonna think about who could have made these tracks. Well, so it's a big bird. It looks like it's a water bird because it has those flippers. So my first thought is maybe a goose. A pelican. Wait, no, we don't have pelicans here. Yeah, a lot to think about. So if I had to guess, I would say a goose. But do I really know without seeing it? Not really. But by making educated guesses, I think we were able to kind of narrow it down a good amount. All right. So again, a good tracking area to come to is a beach on the lake. I know on this beach I've seen coyote tracks, I've seen bobcat tracks, human tracks, all kinds of, and of course Waawaashkeshi, deer tracks. So yeah, consider going to a beach and doing some tracking there. All right, on to the next thing. Okay, look at that. Look at what I found. It looks like wilderness raisins. Maybe I should eat one, huh? Just kidding. These, I think, are Waabooz pellets, Waabooz poops. So yeah, another indication that somebody has been through here. A little bit smaller than Waawaashkeshi, huh? Oh no, who's this? Oh, it's my dog. Because, check this out. Oh, it's a Waabooz. I guess we had a good educated guess. It was a Waabooz after all. Well, I want to say miigwech for joining us today for Introduction to Tracking. And I'll see you next time. Giizhik.